Hello and welcome to the Pink Hair Girl podcast. My name is Sally Jane and this is episode 20, Christmas Madness. Today is December 27th, which means that we've all survived Christmas 2014. How was your Christmas? We had a really nice Christmas. It was quiet. On the 24th, we always do a dinner on the 24th, my family, because it's always been that it's a bit hot to do a meal on the Christmas day because South Africa's generally summer. So it's just kind of been a tradition that I've had since I was young, and since I had Christmas with my parents. We've always just done a dinner on the 24th. So that's what we did. Sometimes we invite other people around as well, but this year we just kept it to the family and my one friend Andre, who always joins us for Christmas. It was just the five of us and we kept it very low key. I kept the cooking to a minimum. I did sort of crudités and dip and biltong and chips and stuff for starter, and the kids ran around the garden while we had that. And then I did simple gammon and beef roasts with some vegetables for the main course, and pudding we kept to ice cream, and those that wanted Christmas pudding could have that. So especially when the kids are young, there really is no point in doing absolutely like gourmet cooking because they really don't appreciate it most of the time. So that's what we did on the 24th. And then the boys made out of my garden bed, the flower beds. They have I've got some sort of concrete brick thingies that make the borders, and out of those on the grass they made a reindeer landing pad, sort of a runway type thing. So we had that, and then they laid carrots all down this little runway. It was quite cute actually, and they put out the mince pies and a cookie and for Father Christmas the night before. And I also got them, a friend of mine said they do a tradition of giving the children new pajamas on the 24th, and then when they wake up and you're taking photos of them the next day, they look nice in their new pajamas. So I said to them in the evening before they put their pajamas on that the Christmas fairy had brought them new pajamas to wear. So they put those on, and that was all very exciting. And I had actually done, for the first time ever, most of the wrapping a few days before. So I had a couple of things left to wrap on the 24th, but that was all. It isn't like I normally leave everything until the last minute and then have this mammoth wrapping session on the 24th, late into the night, and then feel really grumpy and miserable. So no, I had all of that done, so I was quite chuffed with myself. So we set all that out, and then the kids of course woke up early the next morning and had presents in the morning. We tried to make a lot of things that they could do, coloring books, and the boys both got a very nice wooden dinosaur set. So we used to have, in olden days, ones you sort of press out and slot together, and they didn't always slot together that well, but this is a sort of a fancier version of that. And the thing actually has a little slot where you put a battery in and a sensor or whatever, and it moves, it roars and it moves, and it slots together. All the slots are very smooth and it builds very nicely. So they each got one of those, a Stegosaurus and a Triceratops, and they got Caleb got paper craft because he's very, very into Minecraft, and it's sort of making because Minecraft is blocked, it's all sort of pixelated blocks. It lends itself to paper as well, and then there are these things you pushed out and then you fold up the blocks to make the paper. So he's been doing that, and they got Lego, and they got other things that they could build and make and do, and he's made a model aeroplane, and Rachel's had a top model book to color in and that sort of thing. So that's been quite nice. Rachel informed me this year, I suspected it last year already, but she informed me this year that she didn't, that she knows that there's not a Father Christmas, and that she was keeping it all up for the boys, for her brothers. She wanted them to really believe in Father Christmas. So she played along really nicely and sort of helped to build up the excitement with the boys. Oh, she put on the Santa sort of Father Christmas tracker on the computer, and then helped them to track where he was going and stuff. And then the whole thing was, as soon as he started to do Africa, then they had to go to bed, otherwise they'd be awake when he came. And those boys shot to bed as fast as you can imagine. That was really sweet, actually. And then on we sort of mooched around here a bit, had some breakfast, coffee, that sort of thing. And then we went to my in-laws later on for a braai, for a barbecue. That's very South African to have a braai on the 25th. And that was also very nice. The kids took along their various things to make and to do and stuff, and that was all very nice. My mother-in-law gave me these lovely coral-colored earrings and necklace set, which I'm delighted with. Yeah, I mean, coral is like the perfect combination of pink and orange together, so I think it suits me very well, so I was most delighted with that. We keep the presents to each other very small. We mostly focus on stuff for the children. That said, I think both the geek and I were a little bit naughty this year. My one bigger present actually hasn't arrived yet. He ordered it from America. I don't know if you've ever watched some of my previous episodes when I talked about Fluwag shoes. There's a pair called Liz, and they were on sale. Now, they're normally about $300, and I couldn't pay $300, not with our exchange rate, but they were on sale. Yeah, I mean, it's still, even on sale, they were very expensive, and so he bought me those, but they haven't arrived yet. I bought him a Nespresso coffee machine, the pods, and you put it in and blah blah blah. And I'm going to say this here, hoping that he doesn't watch. I don't like it. I don't like the coffee. It tastes bitter to me, and you get so little, and by the time you've put any milk in, it's cold. I don't know if I'm doing it wrong, but I find even the not so intense, like the 4 or the whatever, 3 or 4, I still find them quite bitter and not that nice. I mean, he warmed the mug and he warmed the milk for me the last time he made it, and all the rest. But you don't get very much, do you? And I know it's stronger and therefore it's supposed to be nicer, so then you don't need as much. But I kind of like a big mug of coffee. I don't know, I'm such a pleb. I mean, I'm absolutely sure that my friend Sally, who loves coffee and loves her Nespresso machine, is screaming at me right now. I don't scream, telling me I'm a total pleb. I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I hope he likes it and he doesn't just say that he likes it because of me, but I'm a little bit disappointed, actually. I thought I would like it more. Maybe I need to make a proper like cappuccino and froth up the milk and all the rest. But I really I'm a pleb. I like a big mug of coffee. So I'm finding it a bit, but it wasn't my present, so I mean, I hope he likes it. Anyway, and then the children got me, I also got some Christmas pajamas. I actually only got them on Christmas, but I got some Batman, or I don't know, you don't get Batwoman, but Batman in girl variety pajamas. And then I got a Little Miss Sunshine t-shirt, which I thought was very cute. So, yeah. And those of you in South Africa might know it. I don't know if you get this overseas. This is the Real Meal Revolution cookbook, the low carbs, high fat cookbook, which I've been quite interested in reading, based on the Banting diet. So I don't think I'm going to follow it 100%. I'm certainly not Banting 100% at all, but I'm quite interested to see some of the recipes and some of the ideas. So that was my my present haul this time. There's another side to Christmas, and as much as it's wonderful, I mean, I love Christmas, I really do. I also find it can be, and we kept it very low-key, specifically we kept it very low-key, but I still found, Caleb especially, we've helped him to describe his personality so that he finds it easier to understand why he does certain things and why some things are hard for him. We've helped him to describe it as just so. Caleb likes things to be just so. They need to go in the right order. They need to go as he expects them to. Things must fit properly. His brother mustn't fiddle with his Lego because then it's not just so. And that helps him to understand the good parts of his personality for being specific and careful and, and then it also helps him to understand why he finds other things so irritating when people fiddle with his just so things or when things aren't going exactly according to plan. And so for him, Christmas can be quite difficult because no matter how much a child enjoys it and no matter how much the excitement is there, it is also completely out of the realm of their normal, their routine, their everything that is just so in their life. And I know I've heard friends of mine that have children on the autism scale say that Christmas and birthdays and holidays and things like that, although sometimes a nice welcome break, can be very difficult on children. I mean, even Titus, who's I mean, he's too young to say personality is like, but I mean, he's a lot more sort of wild. We used to call him Hurricane Titus. And I think the amount of sugar they're allowed to eat, they don't have a lot of sugar in the house. So, suddenly they're getting chocolates and their sugar rushes and the excitement and all the rest. It's hard on them. I mean, we've had a couple of, meltdowns and moments where they felt completely overwhelmed. And with Caleb, quite a few times we've kind of had a timeout in his room, not really as a punishment, but for him to feel more in control, just to kind of calm everything down again. So, I mean, that's why I said to you the Christmas madness, because there is another side to it. There's that side where everyone's feeling a bit frazzled. They've either eaten too much or drunk too much, or the kids have had too many sweets or whatever, or had to put up with annoying relatives, or, Christmas brings all sorts of things with it. I mean, I'm very fortunate. I have really lovely in-laws and they were great with the kids and it was really nice. But I know there are difficult family relationships or people having to divide time between families, and it can make it a stressful time, Yeah. I mean, the Christmas really comes with its good and its bad. And Caleb was saying yesterday how many more hours until Christmas. And so we were working out, and it's, over 8,000 more hours. The 26th is always the longest day until Christmas again. And maybe we need those 8,000 hours to recover in time to do this all over again. I mean, there are those that have lost loved ones and all sorts of things for this time of year can be very, very hard. So yeah, we survived Christmas 2014 and we had a good time, and I kept it low key and lots of things for the children to do, and tried as much as possible, not to set them up for disaster, because, a lot of sugar and a lot of change, and suddenly, kids, it's a recipe for them not to be able to cope all that well. Shame. Anyway, I hope you all had a really great Christmas, and that you got lots of really nice goodies. And as soon as my shoes arrive, I promise that I will be showing them on the podcast because I'm terribly excited about them. I have wanted shoes like that for ages. I've always said they are far too expensive. And yeah, so anyway, I will show them as soon as I've got them. But let's move on to the knitting. So long. Okay, I have one finished object this week. Fortunately, I finished it because it's the Geek Christmas socks. I finished them on Christmas Day, actually, but it counts. I mean, it wasn't quite under the tree and all wrapped up, but by sort of mid-morning, I'd finished the ribbing and I'd cast them off. I was just too tired eventually on the 24th, and we'd done all the other stuff. And because I haven't been doing that much knitting, I've had to be careful with my hand. And so I just had to go slowly and stuff. But I did finish them on the 25th. No, that's not right. Yes, I did. Sorry, it is right. I did finish them on the 25th. I actually was naughty because I wanted to join the Little Bobbins 24th Christmas Eve cast on. So I did cast on those on the 24th and had left these a little bit unfinished. Just so I could put my hashtag up on the 24th to say that I joined the Little Bobbins thing, but I'll tell you a bit more about that later. Anyway, I finished the Geek socks. They've got a normal toe. They've got a slight textured stitch. It just kind of made up, knit 3, purl 1, and then keep that in that line kind of thing. I did the fish lips kiss heel for the first time, which is actually quite easy. The one thing I wanted to say about this, and I'm sure most people have said this on their podcast, but if you haven't come across it before, don't be daunted by how long the pattern is. The first whole part of the pattern is all about measuring your foot putting the heel in the right place, foot measurements, making a template of your foot, which is great, but I haven't done it. You don't have to do it. If you know where you normally put your heel in, then just go straight to the heel instructions and put the heel in. Like, I think it's 2 pages at the end, and the last page is all photographs. The actual part of putting the heel in is very, very short. So don't be putting, if you get in, if you're on your socks and you decide you want to use the Fish Lips Kiss heel, and you open it and you like there's pages and pages, and you think, oh no, you just go put in any other heel, which is what I did for a while, until someone said, no, it actually isn't that much on the actual heel. There are, I think if you're making socks for someone that's not there, it might be very nice to have a foot template. And, I think a foot template could be great. And it's a great tutorial on all how to do that. But you don't have to do that. You can just put your heel in where you would normally put your heel in. So the Geek Socks in the Woodland colorway by Nurturing Fibers in Mansock is finished. So that's quite good. I'm quite chuffed with that. And with the nylon and the mohair, it should make them quite hard wearing. They should be quite hard wearing. They don't feel itchy, even with a bit of mohair. They're not kind of, scratchy on your feet or anything. Your feet tend to be less sensitive to those sorts of things anyway. But I found, especially, when you break your yarn, I just pull my yarn at the end when I'm breaking it. It is significantly tougher to break than the normal yarn. So Geek Socks are finished. Yay me, finished them on the 25th. Actual Christmas hero. So, but that is my only finished object. I have had to be careful, and I have had to knit slower. So I didn't get to do any more or finish anything else. Works in progress is also actually going to be quite a short section, because I was mostly working on the Geeks Christmas socks, because obviously that was the most important thing to try and get finished, not to divide my attention over 100 different projects as usual. So besides the Geek Socks, as soon as I'd finished those, well, even a little bit before I finished those, as we have already ascertained, I cast on my Christmas socks, which I'd actually hoped to have ready for Christmas, but because of my break from knitting when I hurt my hand, I didn't get around to it. So I have shown you this before. This is the Electric Carnation Christmas self-stripe yarn that I asked her to dye for me. And I cast on, and I don't know why, I was on the 24th and I just wanted to get done, and I just thought I'm just going to do cuff down. I don't really like, I was going to do cuff down, and I'm not such a huge fan of cuff down. I'm not sure why I decided to do that. I like to do toe up, because then you can use, you can use as much yarn as you can. So I started cuff down, and then I ripped it out the next day on Christmas Day. So although I cast on the 24th, it's actually not the socks I'm going to end up using in the end anyway. I pulled it out and I cast on again, toe up, and I did the rounded toe again by, I think it's Tanya Murray. And look at my pretty green, white and red stripy socks. I am dead chuffed with them. And you can see I asked it to include sort of a darker green and a lighter green. You can see there in the ball, you see there's the sort of darker green bits and lighter green bits, and as you can see in the green bits, they make the darker green and the lighter green. So I really like that. I think that's grand. And so I'm knitting these, and I have done the OMG heel again. That works really well with self-stripe yarn, so you can see there's not an interruption in the pattern in the front. And there's the OMG heel, and I like that you do the I don't know what you call it, where you do a bit of a slip stitch in the, it's not really a heel flap, because you don't, it's kind of like a pseudo heel flap that she does. And I quite like that that has the slip stitch in it, in this bit here. You don't have to do it, but you can include, your slip one, purl one on your, and that tends to make a little bit of a stronger heel over here. So that is really my own, no, I lie. So it's not my only work in progress. This is the one I've been knitting on the most at the moment. The only other work in progress, I'm a little bit embarrassed to show you. I really am so all over the place. Now, as you know, I'm doing the sock yarn blanket knit along with Sally Wool Diaries and Gina, American Gina, Gina GMC, or Gina McCoy, shall I call her? She said I needed to differentiate because there is another Gina that I got my swap parcel from, and she's South African Gina, and she it's very confusing having all these people with the same name. Anyway, so a lot of the sock yarn blankets, if you go and look at them, are done so that it's actually square. There are no sort of zigzag pointy edges left out. The first one I saw was actually where you do work with the zigzag point and then you add them in and up as you go along. So when I started, I kind of landed up reading the first part of the instructions and then just starting to add squares up and landed up with much more of a square thing. I think when I showed you last time, it was kind of there, maybe, and it sort of looked more square. And then I decided, actually, I think I quite like it with the zigzag bottom and the zigzag sides. So then I started going sideways, adding bits. You can see I still haven't sewn in any ends yet. I decided to go sideways, and then I don't like this one. It's the Mind the Gap socks, and it's much lighter yarn. So this was going to be my bottom layer here, this pointy one here. And then I decided that I didn't like this, the way this one sat, because the yarn is slightly thin. I thought that needed to be surrounded by other squares. So then I started over here to add on the one that you would need to start adding on in between here to start making it one more row along the bottom. So it's like a bit all over the place. My poor blanket isn't quite square. I mean, I know when it's square, then the decreases run sort of along the diagonal like that, you know, and then you don't have to worry about the edges not being straight. But I actually really like it where the decreases run up like this. You know, this would be the bottom edge, and then you would add your squares. I think I'm going to go this way. But I still have the option, if I don't want to turn it this way and fill in the others and make it square. I don't know, I was really think this through properly when I started. I just kind of like was adding random squares all over the place. So I think I'm going to make one more layer along the bottom here and then make it with the zigzag bottom. Yeah, I'm sorry. I must sew in the ends. I think the next thing I do when I sit in front of the TV is I must sew in all these ends, because if I leave an entire blanket of ends to the final, you know, the end of the project, I'm not going to use it ever, because I'm just going to hate all those ends. What I don't have, the problem is, I'm so lazy. I need to get up and go put a darning needle into this project bag. So when I do this project, that I have the darning needle there, and as I just finish, I just darn in the end, which is really what I need to do. And this is my project by Elaine Ellaby, which I'm loving. Thank you very much. Oh, and I forgot to show you, a lot of people for their little bobbins cast on, because the whole thing with casting these on the 24th was there was a knit along with little bobbins. It was just your Christmas knitting is finished, cast on something for you, you know, socks for you kind of thing. So a lot of people cast on the 24th and have been showing their progress as they go along. And people had sort of nice bags, project bags that they were showing with the yarn. So this is the project bag I'm using. It says keep calm and carry yarn, which was made for me by my friend Elaine in Pretoria, a different Elaine actually, and her Ravelry username is Krimpvarkie Z, and a Krimpvarkie in South Africa is a hedgehog, and the Z is just for South Africa. So it's a Krimpvarkie, and thank you very much, I love it. She got them, she makes them, and then she got them silk screened with the keep calm and carry on. And I asked her if she's going to be selling them, and she said unfortunately the lady that did the silk screening for her isn't going to be doing it anymore. So that's rather sad. And hopefully if she's, you know, finds someone else able to do them again, I'll let you know, because they're so cool. It's such a cool bag to have. So that was what my Christmas socks are in at the moment, is this bag. So that is all my works in progress. The others are still ongoing. My Bonnie top is still ongoing, and the other things, I just haven't knit on them really at all at the moment. Trying to finish the geek socks for Christmas and resting my hand and things like that. So I haven't done any more on any of those. So once I've done a bit more, I'll show you those next time. how many whips are too many? Like, I know just casting on all the things and never finishing anything. So I'm going to tangle up to take my extra needle out of here. I know that having too many whips means that you like don't get anything finished, but I don't like knitting too much exclusively on one thing. I just get bored. I don't like it. So I was wondering if I should have a system for like cast one off and one on kind of system, you know, but then have a variety of categories in which I could have one pair of socks on the needle, so I don't cast on another pair until that pair is finished, you see. And then I thought, I think I'm going to have 2 blankets, because I've got the sock yarn blanket, but that is really going to be an ongoing process, mostly because I'm going to run out of sock yarn, my own sock yarn scraps, very quickly. Even if I repeat them twice, I'm going to have to wait until I've knitted more projects and have more bits of leftover, or do some mini skein swaps or something like that. So that's going to be a really sort of ongoing process, and I want it to be quite big. And knitted on small needles doing small squares, it doesn't go that fast. And I showed you all the yarn that I dyed for the log cabin blanket, and that's of course in double knit on bigger needles with garter stitch. And I'd really like to start making a few of those. And that's also an ongoing process, because I'm just doing them as I dye them and with what I've got, really. So I thought I was going to allow myself those 2 blankets, and I would knit on, you know, those as I felt like doing something random or that didn't require much brain power. I don't want to have to wait until the sock yarn blanket is finished to start the log cabin blanket, and I also don't want to start the log cabin blanket and feel a huge amount of pressure to finish it quickly. I just want to do it as I feel like it. So I think I'm going to choose out my colors for my first squares, and I'm going to just cast on and do those, you know, as and when I feel like it. Then I think, you know, this year for Christmas, I only did knitted socks for the geek. I didn't make any other knitted Christmas presents. I got toys for each of the children from my friend Shaldine, who makes really beautiful crochet toys. So I got these from her. Oh, I don't have the last one. Rachel, won't you see if you can see where Kaylee's what's he called? Daredevil is. So this is Rachel's little one, little kangaroo with the baby in the pouch. So I got that. I don't crochet that. I mean, I know I've made Heidi Bear stuff, but I can't do this Aragorumi stuff. So my friend Shaldine made these for me. And for Titus, we got Superman with the underpants over. Apparently the modern one doesn't have, you know, he's all blue and then he's got the red boots. He doesn't have the underpants over. But I am of the old generation where Superman needs his underpants over. And yeah, so that's the Superman, which I think is very cute. And then Caleb's one is a little character called Daredevil. It's also a superhero, and he's got some nunchucks here and a little pouch bag that actually opens, and he's got his little, so he's a little superhero as well. So these are great. You know, I didn't knit or crochet anything for them this year. I just got I know I can't make those, and the kids were actually really delighted with them, so I was very pleased. My kids actually really like handmade toys, and so I know getting them for them, they're going to appreciate it. The boys were running around last night with their superheroes fighting, and Titus was making Superman fly and all the rest, so they were very well appreciated. But I thought what to do was maybe to have a Christmas theme project bag, and in that project bag throughout the year I was going to make knitted presents. So I've got one bag in which I'm making presents. Now I know it's not always going to be for Christmas, because you know, for example, the children's birthdays, I made them each one of the Heidi Bears, you know, animals or toys or whatever for Christmas, for their birthdays. But maybe in between, when I wasn't making their birthday stuff, it would remind me that earlier on in the year it's a good idea to get the presents done early. I like giving handmade presents, but I only think about it in, like, I don't know, October, November, and then I keep thinking I've got heaps of time, and so I don't, and so then I only try and cast on something in December, and then it's a nightmare, you know. So I thought if I have a Christmas themed bag, and then I use this bag throughout the year to put or to choose a gift knitting that I was going to do. So that is my plan. I'm going to have a Christmas themed bag, and I'm going to put a toy or whatever I'm knitting as a gift in there at the moment. Which reminds me again, I cannot always leave things too late. My sister is coming up, coming down. They live in England. We are down. She's coming down to visit my mom from England. She hasn't seen my mom yet since she's been sick. So she's coming down from England, and and my younger sister and I are both gonna try and go to Pretoria to see her, because we actually haven't seen her in quite a long time, and then to see my parents as well. And we're working out that since it was my younger sister's wedding, which was about 3 or 4 years ago. But what I couldn't work out was when it would have been the five of us, as in my parents and the three girls, when last it would just have been. I can't actually think how long ago that must have been. I mean, it must have been absolute ages ago. So, yeah, we're going to go up just for a day, and I want to take. My sister's birthday was in December, but I didn't post anything because the postal system is so terrible. Well, it's, posting from South Africa is not so bad. The biggest problem at the moment is it costs a lot of money to post, and I knew she was coming out now, so I thought it'd be better just to wait, and give it to her when she's here. So I want to make her a hat. So I need to hurry up because I need to send that hat back with her when she's here in January. So I really should that should be the first thing in my present bag, should be deciding a hat for my sister. So if anybody's got some ideas for a slouchy hat, she quite likes slouchy hats, something quite warm, please let me know. I'm thinking of, although I need to get the yarn, which I should have enough time. I'm thinking Heartland does a yarn, a bulky yarn, very similar, or I don't know if it's the same base even, as the one that Claire Divine designed her, is it Lapsang hat? I hope I'm not saying that wrong, or that I've got the name wrong. I'm just thinking from memory now. And that is quite a bulky, chunky yarn hat with a pom-pom, and you can make it a bit slouchy and it knits up really fast. And I was thinking if I got that for her in a sort of a nice pink or a light blue or something, she might quite enjoy that. So that's the one I want to do for my sister. And if I choose that in a bulky yarn, actually that will knit up quite fast. So I think I must ask Michelle of Heartland if she will dye that for me, and that's going to be the first thing into my present bag. The other thing, I remember speaking about the little monster for Titus, that I was maybe going to try and knit like I knitted for his friend, a monster for Titus for Christmas. And because I got the things from my friend for them, I decided that Christmas you get so overwhelmed with presents and the excitement and all the rest, that I would actually wait and knit it for his birthday. So his birthday is in February, so that would be the next thing that I would need to get onto the needles for my present bag. So, and then in between, I really want to try and cast on other gifts, toys for the children, or socks, or whatever it is through the year, so that I don't land up with this mad rush at the end, or feel like a pressure at the end to suddenly knit, because you really do need an entire year. If you're going to knit a small thing for everyone in your family, you almost need to have knitted the whole year, otherwise you're just not going to get it done. And I don't like solidly knitting for other people in 1 month at the end of the year. I like to feel like it's interspersed with my stuff. So if I have to knit solidly, sorry, I've dropped a stitch here. If I have to knit solidly at the end on just one, just on things for other people, it makes me sad. I want to knit on my stuff too. So I think if I have this ongoing, then it will help with knitting for other people and knitting for me. So that's my plan. So that was, I was going to have 1 socks, the 2 blankets, my Christmas present bag, and then 1 design project. And the one that's on the go at the moment is still the Rhino mittens, which I just need to get on and do. So that's what I need to do. And then 1 big garment. I think I should be allowed to have 1 garment going at a time, because I like to knit those in between, and sometimes I just don't want such a big thing to knit. And the one that I want to do next, I actually bought the pattern. It was on sale. The designer, whose name I forget, so I will insert it, was having an advent calendar kind of sale. So every day on her group there was a different code or a different pattern that was chosen to be the advent pattern that day, like opening the advent calendar, and you got a discount. And so the Tau, T-A-U pattern, was on special, and it is an off-center asymmetrical cardigan, which you button down the side. It's got a lovely slip stitch detail down the one side and then along the sleeves, which I really, really like. And I've got some brown yarn, which I really like to use for that. So that is going to be my garment cast on. And this section has totally given Sally the heebie-jeebies because she can't stand when I have so many works in progress. But if I only have one garment on the go and one present and one design and two blankets, but they're kind of like long things, and one pair of socks, that's not so bad. Right, those of you that watched last time will know that I was doing the South African swap group Christmas swap, and that for the 12 days of Christmas, Gina from South African Gina, that runs Natural Yarns, which you really must go and have a look at, her website, which she does a whole range of South African yarns and overseas yarns, and lots of bits and bobs for knitting, crochet needles and accessories and bags and all sorts of stuff. So she's well worth checking out. She was my swap partner. We sort of sent each other parcels, and I had my 12 days of Christmas, and I think I opened up to day 7 on the previous podcast. So now I want to show you the other things I got. So the other things we got was a little kit. So it came like this with these little cutouts and some sticks, and then what you made was these, the sticks were the plain sticks like this, and then what you made were these little windmill thingies, which the children coloured in. That's why that stick was empty. Titus's one has popped off his stick. Anyway, here's, oopsie, oh, now I've dropped the whole thing. Anyway, here's Titus's one, which he coloured in, and I have some little pictures where he looks quite cute and he's concentrating colouring in. So we made these. I made these with the children. And then it was just ready for us to cut out and do, and that was quite nice. It all came in a kit. So we made that. I think that was day 8, 9, 10, yeah. Then I got a mug with some biscuits in it, but the biscuits are finished, sadly. We ate those already. And then I got, this is very interesting. This, Gina recently went to Turkey, and she got some of this yarn, which is this cotton, 90% Turkish cotton, and 10% pure microbial silver, which is really interesting because silver is anti-bacterial and all sorts of things. They're using it a lot in dressings nowadays. So if you make a washcloth or a cloth that you're going to use in the bathroom or the kitchen with something that's got silver in it, that would be really great. I mean, it's such a great, and so she knitted, isn't this lovely? Isn't this really beautiful? I love this pattern that she made this square in. I really love it. And this has got this microbial silver in it. So I'm dead chuffed. It's not sparkly like Stellina, it's actually in the fabric, making it antibacterial, which I think is really great. And it's this figgy yarns. And I think she said she brought some back with her and that it's in her shop. She did tell me. I must admit to not having double checked. So I will check and then tell you yes or no along the bottom if you can actually get it from her shop. So yes, I love that. And I love the little thing that she knitted. I thought it was beautiful. I love the way it comes into the center like that. You're decreasing towards the center, which is really beautiful. So that was that one. And then she imports and sells in her shop Manos. And so I got 2 Manos silk blends in the most beautiful colors. It doesn't have a name. It's 30% silk, 70% merino extra fine wool kettle dye, and it's colorway 9182. So it's the Manos silk, and I love the Manos the way they write the name of the artisan that made it, And then it's these two skeins. Aren't they beautiful? I mean, it's sort of like almost autumny colors, but with a bit of lighter and almost purples and pinks and green and orange and bright. It's great. I love it. I love it so much. And with the 2, I should really be able to make something really nice from that. So I was delighted with that. So that was my yarn. And then on the last day, she said there was a something for like to represent everyone in the family. It was a little garland to hang on the tree, and she made these stars herself. They are a recipe she found online for making air drying clay. And it's much nicer than, I've made salt dough before, but it's much nicer than that. You can see there's salt in it, but it's much nicer than that. I must ask her what the link for the recipe is. And then it's these little stars. So we've had that on the Christmas tree, and these are really beautiful. That was the end of my one day swap pass of Regina. I feel totally spoiled, and it was a wonderful swap. I loved it, loved it, loved it. I'm actually thinking next year of maybe doing a swap where we actually do an Advent swap, where you get, from the beginning of December all the way through until the 24th, where you get one a day, but like really small things. I mean, obviously, if you're going to do one a day for the whole month, you need to have like buttons on the one day and a tape measure and a small product. Yeah, like really small little darning needles and all of those kind of little things. But open something small each day. So that was my swap parcel, which was really exciting. And then the yarn for the knit along, well, the sock knit along. As you know, Sally Wool Diaries and I are going to knit one pair of socks a month on a theme for 2015. So the theme for January is going to be New Year, and I asked Michelle from Heartland if she would dye the yarn for me. I gave her the sort of inspiration. My sort of thinking was that fireworks, fireworks are very typically sort of New Year kind of thing. And the other thing I said to her was that white is the color of new beginnings. So that's all I said to her. Those were kind of my inspiration thingies, and I left it with her. And so when it's my turn, I get 2 skeins dyed, one for me and one for Sally. And when it's her turn, she gets them dyed and sends one to me. So we always knit with the same color. And every other month it's a surprise as to what we're getting, and then every other month we get to choose and to work with the dyer and to try to find yarn or whatever. Our only prerequisite is that the yarn has nylon in it so that it's strong enough to knit socks from, really. So should I show you what Michelle did? I love it. It's quite unusual, but I totally love it. Look at that. So it's called New Year's Confetti. So she's kept it on the white base, and then she has made it like fireworks. Isn't that so cool? I love it. I love it. And it's in her Calvinia sock base, which is the high twist 80% superwash merino and 20% nylon. And I am delighted with it. I think it's going to knit up into such fun New Year's socks. New beginnings, clean, white. Why am I especially going to say it's clean if it's covered in just speckles? But you like the white, it's sort of nice and bright and fresh for New Year, and then the fireworks all over it. So I'm really in love with that. So this is the New Year's yarn that Sally and I are going to be knitting the sort of sock along for 2015 in. So if you'd like to join on the South African group, you'll see there's a post for the socks, and you don't have to use, people have been dyeing and using all sorts of other colors or whatever yarn they like. There's some really beautiful yarns. Vicky was using an inspiration of some blue fireworks against a black background, and she got some lovely yarn that matches that theme. And there was it Charlotte that put up hers? It was that she dyed herself. She took some undyed yarn and dyed it in sort of a gradient, sort of blue colors, because obviously New Year in South Africa is hot. So she said it reminds her of a swimming pool and of swimming and of water, because New Year here is hot in South Africa. So that was her inspiration. So I'm dying to see what other people are going to be using for their January socks. So our inspiration is New Year, but it could mean anything to you, sunshine or cold or snow or whatever it is that you do, fireworks or whatever else for New Year. So if you want to join in, please come and put your photos on the group and come and knit socks with us, one a month for the year on the different themes that we're doing. And I think, if I check my notes, that's almost all I was. Oh, the most exciting news! My parents have bought a house near us, which is so exciting. I'm sure if you've been following, you know that my parents are moving down to Cape Town from Pretoria. They're retiring down here. And it was sort of put on hold when my mom got sick, and she was finishing her treatment in Pretoria. So in the meantime, they have sold their house there, and they've been looking down here near me. The house prices obviously in Cape Town are a lot higher, being Cape Town and beachfront. Well, not, we're not beachfront, but being near the coast and all the rest. You just pay so much more for so much less in Cape Town. I mean, it's a bit, I suppose, like the closer you live to London in England, or one of those sorts of places. So yeah, the houses are very expensive, but they wanted something smallish. They're downgrading. They didn't want a really big house. And I saw a house that they would have really liked, but by the time I went to see it, it had already had an offer on it. And we've been looking, and for the past sort of 3-4 months, there's really not been much in the size and the price bracket that they want to sort of have. And so my dad phoned me on Monday morning to say that there was a house that had come on the market on the weekend in a complex that I had actually gone to go and see. A small couple of units in a small little complex, and I had seen it before, and I thought, gosh, that would be really nice actually. I hope that something comes available there. And to just give you an idea, the last time something was available, the last time something was on sale in that complex was 4 years ago. So when my dad said that there was something on there, and did I mind phoning the estate agent and going to go and see it, I phoned her straight away. And she said she was just with somebody at that time. It was about 10 o'clock, and there were people coming that afternoon, but that she might be free from about 11. So I said, we'll see you there at 11. I was getting in there first. So I got there and I looked around, I took lots of photographs, and I phoned my dad, and he put in a verbal offer based on my having looked around. They really do trust me, but it was subject to him seeing it, and he had I think it's 36 hours to come down and see it. So he booked a flight and came in on Tuesday morning, and then saw it and did the negotiations and put in their final offer and all the rest, and it was accepted, and my parents are moving down. Well, I mean, I always knew they were, but it was a bit uncertain as to whether we'd be able to find a house for them or where, and there were so few houses in that price bracket that yeah. And then I heard from the estate agent that the other people that wanted to see it later that afternoon did see it, and both of them wanted to offer. But in South Africa, when you've got an offer on a house, you may not accept other offers until that's concluded. There's no, like you get in England, where you can play one against the other and do gazumping and all of that sort of thing. You get an offer and you decide if you want to accept that offer or not, or if you want to see what other people are going to offer. But because my parents are a cash buyer, because they've sold their house and they don't need a bond or a mortgage, they're going to buy cash, they are quite attractive. They're not in a chain, they're not waiting for their house to sell or whatever. So by the skin of our teeth, with me seeing it before the other people, we managed to put the offer in, and my parents have a house. I'm delighted. And I think for my mom as well, knowing that she's got somewhere to move to is helpful for her, and in knowing how much to pack up and what to bring and all the rest. And I think it just puts her mind at ease after having been through all this treatment and everything that she's got going on, that that part of the headache is at least sorted out. So they are only moving down. My mother has finished the terrible treatment, so we had a little bit of a celebration. So she's finished that, but she's got 3 months of a slightly different treatment, but apparently it doesn't make you feel so sick at all. And that ends at the end of March, and then they'll move down here, and then she'll have some radiotherapy down here. But yes, at least she has a house to move to, and they will be coming down here in the beginning of April next year. So that's very exciting. So that was my other bit of exciting news I had to tell you. So thanks for watching the podcast, and I hope you really did have a wonderful Christmas, and that you aren't struggling too much with the madness or aftermath of the Christmas chaos. And I'm not sure if I'll get to record before New Year, but otherwise it'll be shortly after New Year. So thanks so much for watching, and bye for now. Bye.